The latest monthly report has our first update in hacking development as a feature in, I would say, a long time. I don't think it's been, or rather, I think it's been like years since they've said anything about hacking. Hacking is kind of like salvage in that it keeps showing up and then it disappears, and then it shows up and then it disappears, and then it's delayed and then it shows up, and you're like, why are you guys working on this? So take it with a grain of assault. Take it with a little assault. This may be just a little blip. This might not mean anything about the feature coming anytime soon or making any sort of very extreme progression. But they did say here in the core gameplay update that it's making some progression. Work on hacking continued. They say continued. I'm like, what do you mean? When was there work on hacking before? It involved highlighting suggested abilities for certain gameplay situations. Abilities are also now disabled when they're not applicable in a specific situation to better explain hacking gameplay. The hacking terminal now also supports color-coded terminal output for better clarity. We went over this in the monthly report, but I keep coming back to it because we just don't get to hear too much about hacking. And hacking is pretty closely associated with engineering, I think. It's something that's going to be available in a lot of places. But rather than having me explain all of it, I've got 4 videos here from over the years, how the concept of hacking has kind of changed and developed over time. So we're going to check that out.
Props teams have recently begun their explorations developing the various chips and ports necessary to support the upcoming hacking gameplay currently scheduled for Alpha 3.15. Now, while there will be a variety of high...
You know, that's why they don't do that kind of stuff anymore. I mean, they kind of don't. Alpha 3.15, folks. But that's what I'm talking about. Hacking is one of those gameplay things that showed up and was like, okay, here it comes. And then it just disappeared out of existence. And I think that's because a lot of it needs to be built with engineering in mind. This kind of is the same that they did with spaceships, where they build this feature or they build something that they want to be in the game, and then they realize, holy crap, there's so much other stuff that needs to be tied into it that maybe we should just wait to release it until that stuff is ready to go. And so here we are. We maybe we'll see it in like some sort of practice this year, but 4 years later, we're still waiting. Either way, more info.
High and low-tech offerings, these were the conversation starters, if you will, to help us determine which direction visually we wanted to go in. They even created a handy animatic to see how the pieces all fit together, along with a sneak peek at the hacking visual interface that we're going to see a lot more of in ISC next quarter.
Yeah, we didn't see any of this in ISC. Like, it's so interesting to me what happened in those 3 months or 2 months between this being said and it not happening. That's how just like meandering the development in this game is. So it has changed since this. This was kind of like a Deus Ex style graphical interface, sort of Pac-Man. Basically, you were supposed to insert your fun guy throughout this sort of maze into an end zone where he would make fun sounds, and then computer would go hacky hack and you'd get to do things. But they're changing it up. So let's go to the next video, where this isn't really going to talk specifically about the gameplay of hacking, but it'll give you an insight into how much of a part of the game they want it to be, in the fact that they dedicated like half of this ship to hacking.
Legionnaire
pretty crazy.
Fills a gap in our lineup for both more lawful and less lawful careers where you need to take charge of another person's ship. Traditional flow for ship-to-ship docking is the person who wants to dock to the other ship.
So that's kind of a big tell on hacking, is that when you are boarding a ship and hacking into it to board it, what you're doing is not just breaking the ship and forcing it open. You are spoofing the ship. You're triggering the same docking permission requests we already get, like when you're landing with the Merlin on the Constellation, or really whenever you just target a ship and press landing, you'll be able to deny or accept the docking request, which would then extend your docking port and allow for the ships to line up and mate, for lack of a better word. what this hacking would do would basically just allow you to send that docking request and then accept it for yourself. So you would hack into the ship and accept the docking request to force them to let you on board.
Requests it from the parent ship, and it's on the parent ship's pilot to accept or deny that, whereas the Legionnaire has onboard hacking abilities using the hacking minigame to...
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't think he was going to explain it all the way through. I thought he'd already finished.
perhaps forcibly override that acceptance and allowing it to happen instead.
So that falls in line with the activities we're hearing about. That would, I would assume, be an activity in that hacking scenario.
For players that are on the lawful side, its prime use is bounty hunting. For those perhaps with more military focus, it is like Anvil's dedicated military boarding ship. And for those on the other side of the spectrum, piracy is its main role. So you are there able to attach and board other ships and take their crew, goods, or ship itself.
This is also going to be great when they use this as like an NPC backup drop ship when we're doing missions like that 890 jump boarding mission or something. Taking over a capital ship and the NPCs get back up and they come and board through one of these ships. Gameplay. That's
the Anvil Legionnaire. Looking forward to this one because it's a ship that appeals to both sides of the law. It brings with it a new side to an existing gameplay loop or existing gameplay loops. It expands upon them, and it's something that I know a lot of players have been waiting for a long time, is that the ability to board other ships forcibly, because it takes away that safety a lot of players have at the moment, where I'm safe on my ship, no one's coming on here without destroying me. So people are really going to have to start thinking twice when these things hit the persistent universe.
Mm-hmm. Someday. This is when they were still building their office and Jared was doing ISCs from like the street. All right, here is some more conversation surrounding hacking and what was planned for it. I don't actually remember what explicitly was said in this, so I'm just going to let it play out and comment as it goes. But this was actually before this. So they were developing this, like they were working on hacking. And then we got to this point where they're saying, yeah, we're developing a ship that's going to have it. This one back here, they're saying, yeah, we've got the, we're building out the actual interface and this sort of stuff. So you get the idea that they were pretty set on doing something hacking related around 2022, 2023. God knows what happens. Hacking news and explanation 2021. This is the first person. This is like some of the core gameplay kind of stuff too. So these guys wouldn't know what they're talking about.
Joas, let's talk a bit about hacking.
Hacking.
We've seen hacking on the roadmap a couple of times. It's pushed for a couple of various reasons. We're not going to get into that. But about hacking is
just a few times. Just a few
features about how it's going to work. Describe to us where we're going, what our intentions are with hacking, what kind of things we're looking to be able to hack to take control over. You know it better than I do, so talk to us about hacking.
All these people are still at CIG as far as I know.
Thank you very much.
I don't know specifically what they're doing, but Zach Priest is definitely there. Joas is there. JJ is obviously there. Jared's there. Declan's there. He's actually in charge of the crafting system. So yeah, all these people are there. Is it really quiet? Like blowing my ears out. I've turned it up about as much as I'm comfortable. That's 200% volume.
The hacking that's implemented in the PU work right now is you basically go and you buy a chip, and then somewhere in the universe you find like this chip slot of like a hackable computer that you insert the chip into, and it's basically a timer that ticks down and it's got a chance to jam, so you need to restart it. And what we wanted to do with hacking, moving on from that, the current implementation, is that we wanted to introduce some more engaging gameplay when it comes to hacking. So we've explored a bunch of different concepts, and we've had a long period of experimentation and playing around with different ideas internally in the design team. So what we have right now for what hacking is going to be.
The freaking anticipation.
We're going to add this hacking device, which is going to be something that you can equip in your hand. And then we're going to still keep those chips, which basically works like the ammo for the hacking device. So you have the hacking device in your hand, and there's going to be these things in the world that you can hack. You go up to them, interact with them, and they connect wirelessly. And
NFC.
You're going to see this 3D visualization of a network. You're going to be able to move around at this network and also manipulate the network to open up new paths and new routes. And while you're inside here, like what is your objective? Like how do you complete the hack? Well, basically you find these weak points that you insert like a Trojan horse into, and then you connect those up together. Sounds pretty simple, but there's also gonna be these antivirus systems present.
Dude, I don't know if that sounded simple.
So someone might have like, an antivirus that's gonna try to stop you basically and put make your life of hacking harder. And that leads us into like difficulty scaling. So there's gonna be like varying ranges from like the easier hacks. They might be smaller and very quick to complete, very straightforward. And then on systems that have more antivirus, like a higher antivirus level present, is gonna be quite a hard challenge for the players to finish the hacks. We also have a way to play this hacking game through a command prompt. So you're basically going to be able to, in addition to the normal control scheme, you're going to be able to type commands which control the hacking. And
now
there's going to be various.
I feel like he says you're going to be able to type commands there, but I'm guessing it's going to be just like a pre-made block of text, if anything, right? It's not like you're going to be able to go there and CSI Miami hack your way into the mainframe and freaking enhance all the pictures and stuff. They've got to, even since this video, they've taken liberties to simplify gameplay mechanics they talked about before. So I don't even think we're anywhere near what he's talking about here. I think they're going to go with just one of these options. And I don't think it will ever be like a custom input kind of thing. That would be pretty wild. I mean, we already just saw in the monthly report that they're mentioning these specific activities you can do. Now, here's a picture of the hacking tool he mentioned. You'd basically be able to put blades in here. And then this would be able to, like he said, just like establish a shortwave wireless connection to something that needs permissions to be accessed. And we've seen them talk about that kind of stuff when it came to things like distribution centers and building interiors and stuff like that. This might be one of those things we see in the ArcCorp underground locations when they bring those in.
Bonuses that you get from using the command prompt over the default control scheme. So hopefully that's gonna scratch that hardcore hacking fantasy urge that
CSI Miami.
a lot of players I think are expecting from.
I'm in.
From this. So why would I hack stuff? Like, what can I hack? Well, you're hacking in order to gain access to a system or part of a system that you previously didn't have access to. So what could that be? Like the most straightforward example is a door. There's a door, it's locked, you don't have security access, you hack it, bam. Now it's open and it opens up a new path, or maybe a room that contains valuable loot, or whatever the level designers come up with. Mainly it's going to be or Secondly, it could be like computers or terminals which control other systems, like gravity could be a cool thing that it controls, or whatever the level designers can come up with.
Basically, you make the system, and then it's whatever they apply it to.
Yeah, whatever the scenario that they're designing for. Loot containers as well could require you to hack them. Eventually, later down the line, you're going to be able to hack someone's ship, and that leads us onto the PvP aspect of hacking, which basically, if someone's hacking your chip,
a chorus of moans go up somewhere off in the distance. Everything's PvP.
You're gonna get a notification that there's someone's trying to gain access to your system, and you can actually go in and take manual control over the antivirus system and try to. Hopefully, you'll do a better job than the antivirus AI would.
This is from 2021. This video.
Did you even consider just firing a beam at it? Did you even consider it?
No, this one's wireless.
Yeah, this one is wireless.
Yeah, we've got the devices for wireless, But what we've really wanted to try and lean into is selling the hacking fantasy, because that was when we first started off with this. That was the part that we really struggled with. And it was like we were coming up with ideas for the almost like this system to kind of demonstrate hacking, but it didn't feel like you were hacking. So now we've almost created this asymmetrical game mode where it's like you are hiding in this maze of a network, you're relaying the path, and you're trying to find your way around it, and you aren't aware of where everything is. You're trying to discover it and find all of these routes, and you're trying to create these networks. And obviously at the same time, on the other side, the antivirus doesn't know where you are, and they're constantly searching for you. So it's a very, like Joe said, it's a very like a kind of like the bottom end. It's a very quick little puzzle that you can kind of get through. Like if I was trying to get on your ship, Jared, and you lock the door, that might be, you bought a cheap ship, for example. I can get in really easy with this little puzzle. You might get a warning that I'm on the ship, but then if you were say like, you're on an Idris and I was trying to hack into your systems and like start interrupting your shields and stuff, that would be like the we're in a big network here. I'm really having to, sweat and work to figure out how to basically break in, and you're getting alerted that someone might be trying to get into your system, and then you're like, oh my god, I need to try and get in here and take manual control to get this guy out. So we really wanted to kind of sell a hacking fantasy in a visual format that people will quite easily understand, but also we wanted to cater for people who want to use something like the command prompt for the true like hacking feel, and there is definitely scope there to kind of utilize both and take advantage of either side. So I fully imagine like a power player of hacking would be like almost making like macros for the command prompt and hitting those and gaining the benefits from that, while he's like selecting things on the map at the same time using the visual interface. So I'm we're all very, very excited to get it out there, and we've been playtesting it internally, and we're all really, really liking it.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, that was a lot. A couple questions after you guys listened to that. Clearly, this is a pretty big part of the game. Like, I don't think they have. Maybe it's changed since this video, since back at this time. But there's two things that you notice here. One is that they are very determined in how this is going to work. And a lot of times when the developers talk about these systems, they use words like we're hearing here, where they say things like, oh, you could do this, or maybe it will be like this. But then they're also talking about how they've been testing it internally. So I'm thinking they're a little more dedicated to this actual format than sometimes they let on with other gameplay. But this is 4 years ago, and we've never seen anything about this, ever. And I think I've seen everything they've released since then. And so I'm wondering, you guys think this is in Squadron? Do you think that there is hacking gameplay in Squadron 42? Because we haven't seen it in any Squadron demo. We haven't seen it in any of those like little things of Squadron gameplay they showed at 2023. We didn't see it in any of the parts of the Squadron 42 demo from last year. I thought maybe they would have it when he was trying to unlock that door, when there was a fire error and he had to like find the credentials. I was like, that's perfect time for hacking, but they don't show it at all. So I am I'm really interested in knowing what happened with hacking, because it sounds like they made enough work here that they didn't restart on it or anything. They just put it away for a while. And if they go through with it like they're talking about here, it really does sound like it could be a big part of this game. Somebody asked what kind of role somebody would be doing this. I don't really see it as a role so much as just a tool. Kind of like a gun or a spaceship. You can sort of decide where this fits into your own line of work in the game. I do imagine, though, that most of the times you can hack into things that will be unlawful, just like in the real world. Like, really the only things you should be hacking are your own things. You can hack criminals' stuff, and nobody can complain about that, I think. I hope. Maybe. The final update I had for us here was actually Torsten talking about hacking and how it would fit into engineering gameplay. This is only 2 years ago. Getting closer and closer to present day. But like I said, we haven't heard much recently. This is really just, again, reinforcing how much this is linked into systems like engineering and how I think they coexist, and why maybe hacking has been pretty much non-existent in terms of development, at least from our perspective, until now, when it seems like engineering's coming along.
So we want to tie it in with a hacking gameplay. So that's one fact, that we want to allow you to hook yourself into one of the items and then get even access to, like, imagine yourself, you being the aggressor on the ship, you plug yourself into the power plant. If you don't want to, well, there's the option you physically damage it, so you might punch it or use a hammer with a wrench on it, or use a beam to destroy it.
We love our beams.
Yeah, that's all about beams. And then, or you are the more digital assassin of the ship, where you just plug yourself in and go through the hacking gameplay. And then once you succeed, you get basically you get access to the states, what we talked about for the item. So you can switch around the states of the item and mess up your ship. But what you can also do is you can decide to ignore the item and progress further through the ship. So you basically move from node to node inside the ship. So once you successfully hack this power plant, you will see all the connected items that you can then select and start the next hacking procedure. And then you can make your way to whatever.
That's interesting. So that makes it sound kind of like you can hack separate components, not just like the central computer on the ship.
Whatever item you actually wanted to target, and then change its functionality. Turn it off, or vent a room if you want to target the life support, or every functionality that you see on the engineering screen would be accessible through that hacking process.
I think chat's going out like hacking. Yes, hacking has been in the cards for Star Citizen, for the Persistent Universe, and for Squadron 42 for some time. Intrepid
There's confirmation. It is in Squadron 42.
viewers of the public roadmap might remember there was a hacking card on the public roadmap for quite a while. We actually had going back to our conversation just before the show starts, we actually had filmed a segment for ISC way back when, detailing how hacking was going to work and what was that, and it was filmed and it was edited, and then somebody had a great idea about how to change it. Yeah. And it fundamentally changed. It's like, no, we're going to go this way, and everything in that segment became wrong. So it's one of the few segments we've ever produced that is.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Detailing how film. Going back to our conversation just before the show starts, we actually had filmed a segment for ISC way back when, detailing how hacking was going to work, and everything in that segment became wrong. So it's one of the few segments we've ever produced that never got aired. And when that happens, it happens a while. You know, the only constant in game development is change. It affects our video production as well.
So I wonder if that's an ISC that would have coordinated with this SCL. That seems kind of ripe for the timing that they would have done an ISC. Like they were planning on doing maybe like a February or March inside Star Citizen to cover this, and it got changed up. So it might be the stuff that we're listening to has actually changed since then. We don't really have, I think, another update besides this one.
when there is we already know the time and the place where we're going to reintroduce folks to hacking gameplay and how it's going to manifest and stuff. So stay tuned. No other updates about that just yet.
We've been staying tuned. 2 years now. Tuning in 2 years. I hope that we see some kind of a more significant update to hacking sometime soon. It's pretty good to see it on the monthly report. This is usually a sign that something is moving along, but we won't know until we hear more. We'll check back on the next monthly report, see if they're mentioning hacking, and if so, we can all scream in joy and wiggle and be in glee and all that jazz. Thanks for checking it out.